Imagine this. She's texting you goodnight while another man is lying right next to her. Brutal, yes, but in today's dating scene, it's more common than you think. The competition is invisible, but it's real, and it's happening whether you want to believe it or not. Most men ignore the early signs and end up blindsided, wondering how they miss the truth, staring them in the face. Don't let that be you. In this video, I'm going to expose 5 signs she's seeing other people. And once you recognize them, you'll never have to question where you stand again. Here's what most men never realize. Women rarely reject directly. Instead, they sideline. They delay. They distract. They keep you guessing. It feels confusing, but it's not. It's intentional. And it's how they keep options open. The problem is men want to believe the words instead of seeing the actions. That blindness is costly. But if you know how to read the patterns, everything becomes obvious and you'll never waste time again. If you're ready to see what others ignore, hit like and subscribe right now. And I'm curious, what's the subtlest red flag you've ever picked up on? Share it in the comments. It might just save another man from falling into the same trap. Stay with me, because up next, I'll reveal the hidden dynamic in modern dating that explains why so many men feel like they're always competing and still feel one step behind. We live in an era where dating feels more like a marketplace than a connection. Swipe left, swipe right, an endless scroll of faces, each promising something better, shinier, more exciting. For women, this flood of attention can feel flattering. For men, it often feels like stepping into a crowded arena, competing against dozens of unseen rivals. You're not just talking to her, you're unknowingly up against every other man who slid into her messages that day. And that's where the tension begins. You start off strong, sending texts, making plans, investing energy. But slowly, a question creeps in. Am I the only one, or just one of many? That quiet uncertainty eats at you when she takes hours to respond. When she says she's busy, but her social media shows otherwise. When you feel like your effort is being weighed against a dozen other men. Imagine this. You're texting her consistently, doing everything right, yet it feels like waiting in line for a table that never opens up. You see other men being seated while you're stuck in limbo, wondering if your turn will ever come. That's the modern dating game filled with false starts, endless distractions, and women who may not even realize they're spreading their attention too thin. The truth is, if you don't learn how to see the reality behind her actions, you'll end up wasting time, confidence, and emotional energy on someone who has never truly invested in you. So, how do you cut through the noise and see the truth? Let's start with the first sign. Number 1, she avoids seeing you. This is one of the clearest signals a man can't afford to ignore. When a woman is genuinely interested, she'll carve out time for you. Even in the middle of a packed schedule when she wants to be with you, there are no excuses, no endless, maybe next week messages. She'll find a way. But when she doesn't show up, when plans are postponed, rescheduled, or conveniently cancelled over and over again, that's not busyness. It's avoidance. And avoidance is often a cover for divided attention. She's keeping her schedule open for someone else. Think about it. A man who matters to her isn't put on hold. He isn't left waiting for that elusive day when her calendar magically clears up. If she keeps telling you she's too busy to meet, but she still manages to go out with friends or post about her weekend adventures online, you're not dealing with bad timing. You're dealing with misplaced priorities, and you are not one of them. Picture this. You suggest grabbing dinner. She agrees in theory, but never confirms. The night comes, she vanishes with a last-minute excuse. You try again the next week. Same story. After a while, you realize you're chasing shadows. She's not rejecting you outright, but she's not committing either. That limbo is where countless men lose weeks, even months of their lives waiting for a woman who's already moved on emotionally. Here's the hard truth. If she really wanted to see you, nothing would stop her. She'd skip a night out, rearrange her schedule, or even sacrifice sleep just to spend time with you. That's what attraction does. It pulls people together. If you don't feel that pull from her, it's because she's being pulled elsewhere. This isn't about demanding all of her time. It's about recognizing whether she values any of it enough to give it to you. When she doesn't, you're left holding on to excuses instead of experiences. And that's the moment to ask yourself, if she's not showing up for me, who is she showing up for? But let's say you do manage to see her every now and then. The next question becomes just as important. Is your connection actually moving forward, or are you stuck in the same place? Number 2, there's no progress. Relationships, even in their earliest stages, are meant to move forward. The rhythm may vary. Some connections move quickly, others more slowly. But there's always a sense of growth, more conversations, deeper intimacy, introductions to her world. When that growth is missing, when everything feels stalled in place, it's a sign you may not be the only one she's seeing. Think about the pattern. You talk, you text, maybe you've gone on a couple of dates, but weeks pass and nothing changes. You're not meeting her friends. You're not invited into her life. There's no hint of a future, no movement toward exclusivity. You're locked in a holding pattern, circling the same airspace with no permission to land. Why does this happen? Often, it's because she's keeping her options open. She's not ready to cut ties with other men because she's still evaluating. You're not the priority. You're part of the rotation, and that lack of commitment shows up as stagnation in your connection. Here's the psychological truth. When a woman sees you as someone she wants long-term, she starts weaving you into her reality. She'll drop hints about the future. She'll introduce you to the people close to her. She'll let you in on parts of her life she doesn't share with just anyone. If none of that is happening after weeks or months, she's not seeing you as her future. She's keeping you as an option. Imagine putting in effort, paying attention, showing consistency. Yet months later, you realize you're in the exact same place as day one. No forward motion, no deeper bond. That's not bad luck. It's by design. She doesn't want to move forward with you because she's still moving forward with others. The most painful part. A man can waste enormous amounts of energy here, thinking if he just tries harder, if he just proves himself more, things will change. But they don't, because progress isn't something you can force. It's something she must want with you. Remember this. A woman who sees you in her future will start weaving you into her present. If she's not doing that, then the writing is already on the wall. And when progress stalls, something else always creeps in. Distance. Number 3, she becomes distant. Closeness doesn't just vanish without a reason. When a woman is genuinely drawn to you, her warmth shows in the way she texts, the tone of her voice, the excitement in her eyes when you meet. But when that warmth suddenly cools, when her presence shifts from engaged to detached, it's rarely random. Something else or someone else has entered the picture. This is one of the most disorienting signs for men because it often happens without warning. One week, she's laughing at your jokes, sharing stories, making you feel like the connection is growing. The next, her messages shrink to one-word replies. Her availability evaporates and she seems emotionally checked out. It leaves you questioning yourself. Did I do something wrong? But the truth often lies elsewhere. Her attention has been redirected. Modern dating makes this shift even more likely. Dating apps never close. Her phone is a constant stream of notifications and new options. A woman who once lit up when your name appeared on her screen may now be distracted by someone else's message. She may still reply, but her energy tells the real story. Cold, delayed, Minimal effort. Imagine sitting across from her at dinner. A week ago, she leaned in, hanging on to every word. Tonight, she's scrolling through her phone, distant, uninterested. You sense it immediately, but you hesitate to accept it because denial is easier than admitting she's already pulled away. Here's the harsh truth. When a woman grows distant without explanation, it's because her emotions are being invested elsewhere. That doesn't always mean she's already with another man, but it does mean she's exploring that possibility, and you're slipping down her list of priorities. And this is where men often sabotage themselves. They respond to distance by chasing harder, texting more, trying to win her back. But that only confirms her decision because genuine attraction doesn't need to be chased. When she's distant, the message is clear. She's no longer as invested in you. A woman's warmth doesn't fade without a reason. If she's pulling away from you, she's leaning towards someone else. And when that happens, you'll notice something even harsher. You're no longer the priority. Number 4, you're just an option. One of the hardest truths for a man to accept is realizing he isn't her priority. He's just part of her backup plan. You can feel it in the dynamic. You're the one reaching out. You're the one suggesting plans. You're the one investing time, energy, and thought into the connection. And in return, minimal effort, delayed responses, half-hearted enthusiasm. This imbalance is not accidental. It's a reflection of where you stand. A woman who's genuinely interested won't leave you carrying the weight of the connection alone. She'll meet you halfway, sometimes even more. But when she treats your effort as optional, it's because she sees you as optional. Think about it. Do you find yourself checking your phone, waiting for her to initiate, only to realize she never does? Do plans only happen when you push for them? Does she vanish for days, then reappear just enough to keep you hooked? These are not signs of genuine interest. These are signs you've been placed on the bench while someone else is playing the main game. Psychologically, many women keep options around for attention, validation, or as emotional safety nets. It doesn't mean she's malicious. It means she hasn't decided to choose you. And until she does, you'll always be competing with invisible rivals you can't see. Here's the painful cost. When you stay in this dynamic, you start draining yourself. You pour energy into someone who gives you crumbs in return. Over time, your confidence erodes. You begin questioning your worth, thinking maybe if you just do more, she'll finally see you. But that day never comes, because you were never positioned as the priority. The truth is simple. If you feel like an option, it's because you are one, and no man who respects himself should tolerate that role. This isn't about arrogance, it's about boundaries. When a woman treats you like a side choice, the strongest move you can make is to pull back. Stop auditioning for a spot in her life. The moment you do, you'll see clearly that her lack of investment wasn't about you. It was about her decision to keep you in reserve. And the cruelest part, when you're stuck as just an option, you'll always feel confused. Number 5, confusion equals clarity. Here's a reality most men avoid facing. If you constantly feel confused about where you stand with her, then the answer is already clear. You don't stand anywhere that matters. A woman who values you won't leave you guessing. She'll make it obvious through her actions, her consistency, and the way she integrates you into her life. The uncertainty you feel isn't a puzzle to solve, it's the message itself. Think about how different it feels when someone is truly invested. You don't need to overanalyze every text. You don't wonder if she'll cancel last minute. You don't question whether she sees you as important because she shows it. Her attention, her effort, her time, they remove the confusion. The opposite is just as telling. If you're stuck in constant doubt, that's not bad communication. That's her lack of commitment. Picture a man who spends 6 months in a limbo relationship. They talk, they go out occasionally, but he never knows where he stands. He's told not yet, or I'm not ready, over and over again. Then, one day, he discovers she's been dating someone else the entire time. The confusion wasn't an accident, it was the cover story for her indecision, and he wasted half a year of his life waiting for clarity that never came. Here's the painful truth. Real interest doesn't create chaos. It creates certainty. If you have to ask, what are we? The answer is already not much. If you lie awake at night, wondering whether she sees a future with you, the answer is probably no. And men pay a heavy price for ignoring this. They lose time. Months or even years locked in cycles of mixed signals. They lose confidence, thinking maybe they're not good enough when the issue is her lack of choice, not their lack of value. And worst of all, they lose opportunities with women who would actually prioritize them because they're stuck, waiting for crumbs of attention from someone who won't. Remember this, confusion is not a stage in building a healthy relationship. Confusion is the answer. If you're confused, she's not committed. Period. So, what should a man do when he sees these signs? That's where the real shift happens. When you strip everything down, it comes to one undeniable reality. Actions always speak louder than words. A woman can tell you she's busy. She can tell you she's interested. She can tell you to be patient. But if her actions don't match her words, that contradiction is the only truth you need. This is where so many men fall into the trap. They cling to what she says while ignoring what she does. They hold on to promises, excuses, or sweet talk, hoping it means something. But hope is not a strategy. Observing her behavior is if she doesn't show up. If she doesn't make room for you, if she doesn't invest, then you already have your answer. And that answer demands a response from you. Because the real question isn't, is she seeing someone else? The real question is, why are you tolerating behavior that tells you she's not choosing you? Here's how a man reclaims control. First, stop chasing women who don't prioritize you. The more you pursue someone who treats you like an afterthought, the less respect she has for you. Second, pull back your energy. Invest it where it's valued, not where it's drained. A woman who's serious won't need constant reminders of your worth. She'll recognize it immediately. Third, reclaim your time and self-respect. Every hour wasted on someone who doesn't choose you is an hour stolen from building your confidence, your goals, and your future. The truth is sharp but freeing. The moment you stop tolerating confusion, you become unstoppable. You stop living in reaction to her mood swings and mixed signals, and you start living from a place of clarity and strength. And that's the shift that changes everything. You're no longer the man begging for attention. You're the man who recognizes his value and refuses to settle for less. And that leads us to the final message. You've now seen the 5 undeniable signs that she's likely seeing other people. She avoids spending time with you. Your connection doesn't progress. Her warmth turns to distance. You're treated like an option instead of a priority. And worst of all, you're left in a fog of confusion. Each of these signs tells the same story. You're not at the center of her focus. And here's the truth that most men don't want to face. When a woman really wants you, you don't have to decode signals. You don't have to second-guess her words or chase for scraps of attention. She makes it known. She invests. She prioritizes. Anything less is not interest, it's distraction. The message is clear. If she leaves you feeling uncertain, then you are not her choice. And if you're not her choice, it's time to make yourself the choice. Stop waiting. Stop negotiating for scraps of time and attention. Start reclaiming your power by walking away from anyone who can't give you the clarity and respect you deserve. The strongest men are not the ones who convince every woman to stay. They're the ones who know when to leave. They don't beg to be chosen. They choose themselves first. And that's exactly what makes them magnetic to the right kind of woman. So, if these signs opened your eyes, don't just let this be another video you watch and forget. Act on it. Shift your mindset. Protect your time, your confidence, and your energy. And if you found value here, take the next step. Hit subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with a man who needs to hear it. Because knowledge alone isn't power. Applied knowledge is. And the moment you apply it, you stop being the man who waits to be chosen, and you become the man who chooses